Hey guys, welcome to Aaron's review, and in today's video we actually have two videos for you. The first video is going to be Endgame versus Endgame. This is not to be mistaken for the movie from Marvel's called Endgame. Nothing to do with that. In the second video, I'll be looking at unboxing and a review of a product that all audiophiles probably require. First video is called Endgame versus Endgame. What do I mean by that? Endgame for me is like an indie monitor that stands above the rest. There is something special and unique about it. Some might call it S plus tier. Some people might think that this is the ultimate indie monitor that stands above the rest. It could be in all forms, depending on what your preference is. And an example could be maybe that you could think that the Bloom 03 could be an endgame for you. Why not? It is fun, IEM, and relatively cheap. One that I would recommend at an entry price level for anybody who's starting this audiophile world. So what makes it an endgame? For an endgame it could be many things. First thing, it could be open massive soundstage that it provides. Being able to provide that cathedral hall, perhaps is that dynamic punchy bass that gives you that feeling that you get when you listen to something that is rock or pop. Or maybe the sweet sound of somebody singing and hearing the sweet vocals that they provide. It could be the massive soundstage, the layering of the instrument separation, the detail, the lush trebles or the mids that we see in every different indie monitor. This is something quite subjective, but hopefully what I'm going to show you today is two end games which could be considered or maybe looked at for those who are interested in purchasing an endgame. Now obviously, if this is not the one that you think is an endgame for you, remember, I'm still searching. For me, there are several endgames. I would say in front of us right now there are probably two. You will find out what they are. I'm always searching. There is always another endgame. What's good about right now is the fact that there is now the Chi-Fi, where the prices are getting relatively reasonable, unlike other manufacturers which ask for $3,000 for an indie monitor. So let's get started. So today's video is endgame versus endgame. Inside here we have two indie monitors which I feel stands above the rest because of its maybe the big massive soundstage, the vocals, the bass that it provides, or the instrument separation, the detail. It's just all subjective, and obviously there may be positives and sometimes maybe even negatives. So here we have two indie monitors. Do you recognize what they are? On the very left we have the Sony Z1R IEM. This is a 2 dynamic driver with 1 BA. There's a 5mm tweeter, there's a 12mm dynamic driver, and there's a Sony customized BA driver inside. Retail price of this is about $2,000 US. And it is made of zirconium material, which means it's scratch proof, so it does feel like we're going back to Marvel, but no, we're not. Cable already comes with 2 fantastic cables that you do not need to upgrade. This is a possible endgame. On the very right we have the Thieaudio Voyager 14. Inside we have actually got 14 BA drivers, which is able to give you all the detail of instruments that it provides within this package, and it's quite compact and light, unlike the Sony where it's quite heavy. Obviously there's pros and cons to both sides. Cable it comes with is this one, a standard, a decent cable, I think a bit like the C8s. And yeah, so this is two possible end games that I think that deserves a bit of comparison and preference on judgments, whatever you want to call it. The Thieaudio Voyager 14 looks obviously for me to be extremely good looking. I like the face plates, I like the size, and it's something very unique. What's good about the Voyager 14 is the fact that with those 14 BA drivers you're able to hear all the detail and the minor instruments. It's got a punchy bass, even though it's got 14 BA driver. It does feel like a dynamic driver to almost to that degree. and you're actually hearing the mids, the vocals, the trebles, and hard-hitting, impactful bass, which really rumbles in your ear. Something that definitely should be heard. Detail monster, I would call that one. The Sony has the best soundstage that I've ever heard. It does feel like a cathedral, something that is like an open back. There is the detail, the treble is supreme on this device, something that I've never felt or heard before, and it could be too overwhelming for some people to handle, but I'm enjoying it and it's perfect for me. The bass is, due to the fact it's dynamic driver, it's got a punchy deep bass, but not to the level of the Legend X, which is good. The vocals come out clearly, the instrument separation is all in detail. You can definitely hear where all the instruments are coming from. One that I feel is beyond the Voyager 14, hence the reason why I would say that the Sony Z1R is my top IEM and DA endgame for now. There are drawbacks to both of these. The first drawback for the Sony is the fact that, well, as I said, this is $2,000. This is $1,000. It's half the price. And in order to make this beauty sing, you need definitely suitable E-tips, as I mentioned in my previous video, and also providing it enough power source as to drive these beauties, which I use with the Hugo 2. But with the V14s, yes, a detail monster, as I mentioned, with rumbling punchy bass, and it's definitely something I would call an end game. What's the drawbacks? Well, maybe since this IEM is detail monster, perhaps when you're listening to songs which are not done so well, you're actually able to hear what the drawbacks are from that song. So that's probably one thing to think about. Obviously not all songs are done the right way. Maybe when they actually recorded the sound, it wasn't that fantastic, and that is what this can bring, depending on what song you were listening to. My preference wise, for me as the ultimate for now, in regards to the comparison of these two, I might have another end game which I'll probably do a comparison with the V14 in a future video, sometime maybe next week or this week. My preference is probably definitely the Sony Z1R because of the big massive sound stage. I like the treble, something that is not heard of for me before. As I said, you need to make sure that your E-tips are there. You need to make sure that you have the power to drive this any monitor. Also, please make sure that you have the perfect seal such that the any monitor is securely fits into your ear. Once you have that, then I guarantee that you've arrived at the gates of audio heaven, where you can fully listen and enjoy that immersive soundstage that the Sony can provide to you. Once you've got all that sorted, then you're ready to listen to music that is out of this world. With the Voyager 14, it is another end game, but as I said, there could be drawbacks due to the fact it's a detail monster. If your song is not recorded nicely or up to standard, you might hear the drawbacks of what that song could bring. There is minor details that this brings out, but then again, so does the Sony. But my preference for sure is definitely the Sony. It's like an open back headphone. Anyway, that is all for now. Hopefully you like this end game to end game comparison. There is possibly another 14BA driver with another 14BA driver comparison coming soon. In the next video, as I said, I'm going to look at an unboxing and review of an item that all audiophile members should have or probably need. Anyway, that's all for now. Stay safe, guys. Hit the subscribe button, enjoy music, and I'll see you again soon.